All right, fourth grade, we're back. I just wanted to talk to you guys about different shapes and how not to be afraid of the borders of your paper. So we talked in the last video about not being afraid to go off the edge. I also want you to realize that when you're doing your basic information of what's actually going on in your cause, event, and effect pictures, the same thing goes. So as I told you guys in the last one, my cause was the wedding invitation. So here I'm going to do this envelope back here. So to make my life easy, I'm going to pretend that this is the actual envelope. I cut it out of a normal piece of paper. And then I'm just going to use the edge of this and kind of be like, all right, it's going to be the edge. I'm happy with it being down there. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to draw a line so I know where I have to cut. So you can make your life easier by doing things like this. Work smarter, not harder. Also, I'm doing it on the back because that's where I'm going to glue it so you don't see it. So I'm going to cut that out so I can glue that on. If I look at here, so because this is actually a piece of paper and it's three-dimensional, you guys can't see it right now, but there's actually a line that's created. Let's see if I can lift it up. See how there's a line that's already created? Okay, so an envelope has that and then has another one going the other way. Take that, I'm going to do it again to this one, lining it up, getting it as close to the middle as possible. Happy where it is, flip it over, again, draw my line. Okay. And again on the back. So I can do both of these things and create that depth that we're looking for. Remember, D-E-P-T-H. You have basically spit on someone to say depth. It's not the illusion of death, the illusion of depth. So I'm going to flip this back over. Again, remember the side that you drew on gets glued down. So I'll layer that on top. Then I'll layer this one on top. And then I can trim up those edges. So that will be my bottom envelope that will then get glued on here. But I want it to go off the edge. So, pause. How am I going to make that happen? So again, let it hang off the edge, glue it down like that, then after you're done, so here, I'll glue it down, I'm going to glue down, put glue on the majority of the thing, so I think that's where it's going to get glued, or it's going to actually stick on the paper. And I'll wait until the second day after this is all dry, and then I'll come back and I'll trim that all up. It's actually a really good idea just to trim this all up at the very end so you have a nice even cut. But yeah, the last thing that I'm going to let you guys know when you're doing this is to make absolutely certain that you are done with the foreground, so the stuff that's closest, middle and background before moving on to the next one. Your background should always be first, middle ground is what's in the middle of your picture, done second, and third, the very last thing, is the really brunt of the information, the foreground. Since everything has to be cut out of paper, you also need to make sure that you're not giving yourself a lot of words that you have to write, and that since you are drawing it, if you have to draw those letters, when you glue it down, it's going to be backwards. So you really need to think about stuff like that. Or make sure that you do it in pencil and then you erase it before you actually glue it down. So, one last thing before we go. If you do choose to actually have words, a really good idea, since I have to have words, is to do just kind of like the squiggly line. Don't be afraid of going down on the squiggly line and up, because you have T's and Y's and letters that drop down. So just do stuff like that, and it also adds a lot of nice texture in your picture. Okay, so yeah, if you have any other questions, just let us know.